guys, so let's just start from standing today. So I'll just get you to come to standing, guys, hands onto the hips, just base your feet out a little bit. We're just going to do some circles just to start to warm up the hips and the lower back a little bit. So just nice big circles around. So just keep working through that. You can start to make the circles a little bit bigger as you feel like your hips are warming up and your hamstrings are warming up. So hips to the side, pressing back, side and forwards. And just as you press your hips backwards, tilt forwards a little more, start to get a bit more of a hamstring stretch. All right, and then let's just change direction back the other way. So nice big circles. Again, starting to feel like you're getting a little bit of a hamstring stretch, just moving through the hips, warming up lower back. All right, and then from there, guys, we're just going to come up. We're just going to balance on one leg. So I'm rolling to my right leg, hold my left leg out in front. Draw some really nice big circles with your toe. If you feel like you need to hold onto a wall or something, then you can. So today we've got prehab and stretch, guys. What I'll be trying to do is just do some quite active stuff in the first half of the class. With a little bit of focus today on hip flexion and stretching our hamstrings out with shoulder extension. And then we'll do some passive stretching. So just other way, guys, with that toe, nice big circles around. All right, and then let's just change over to the other side. So we're just going to balance on one leg. Do some really nice big circles with your toe. And then changing direction back the other way. All right, and then from there, guys, we're just going to go fingertips onto your shoulders, and I just want you to circle your elbows around. So you're just going to really squeeze your shoulder blades together, pulling your elbows backwards. Just nice big circles in one direction. I might actually take my jumper off because I feel like it's going to rub on this microphone. So just keep working through that. Just changing myself around here, guys. So my mic's a little bit easier for work. All right, making sure you change direction with those circles, please. So changing direction back the other way. Alrighty, guys, and then from there, what I want you to do is just bring your hands by your side. We're going to warm up our neck a little bit. So just hands by the side. I just want you to gently pull your shoulders down away from your ears. And we're just going to start with some flexion extension. So chin to chest and then gaze tracks back along the ceiling. So just working through that flexion extension. So it's extension as our head moves backwards, flexion as we bring our chin towards our chest. And as you take your head backwards, you can start to think about lifting your chin a little bit and stretching up through the front of the neck. All right, and then from there, we're just going to go into rotation. So I just look over my right shoulder, back to the center, over the left shoulder, just one way and then back the other way. All right, and then just maybe one or two more of those. And then from there, we're just going to go lateral flexion. So just ear to shoulder, back to the center, and then the other side. So I'm just, again, tilting my head sideways, lifting through my jaw, ear to shoulder, and then other side. So trying to keep those shoulders down away from the ears. And then we will put all of that together. So you're just going to go chin to chest, rotate your head, transition that into a side bend. Take your head backwards into a side bend, rotation, chin to chest, and then head up and back the other way. So chin to chest, rotate, side bending, circle your head backwards. And again, we're just going to work one direction and then back the other way. So again, lifting through the chin and the jaw. Just nice and slow. Try and meld all the movements together so you're making one nice smooth circle. All right, we'll just do maybe one or two more of those. And I do to encourage this, guys, when you're sat at home and probably in a chair that's not that great for your posture and for your spine and your neck, that you do the neck circles on a daily basis, maybe even a couple of times a day, just like cleaning your teeth. All right, so from there, finish the one that you're on, and then we're just going to go whilst we're here into some shoulder casts. I'm just going to open my right hand. You can use your left hand just to hold the rib cage and check in that you're not compensating by arching your back. And now just bring your arm across your body. Now, most of you are used to doing this up against the wall, and then we're just going to go max out our shoulder flexion, and then from here, start to internally rotate. Now, remember, we keep turning our hand as we take our hand behind to the back of the hand is on the thigh. And then you're going to max out shoulder extension, externally rotate, come up and across your body. And I just want you to work through those shoulder casts, guys. So remember, we start to create, like right now I'm squeezing my glutes a little bit, squeezing my legs, sucking my belly button in, and just creating that gentle tension or irradiation through the body. Max out your shoulder flexion, start to internally rotate, take the arm behind, and then reversing back the other way. So you're really trying to notice whether or not you're rotating or you're using any other joint. We're just trying to isolate there into that shoulder. And we'll just do a few more of these. So arm comes across, max out shoulder flexion, start to internally rotate, keep turning your hand, and reversing, max out shoulder extension, externally rotate up and across your body. Just a couple more. Nice, guys, keep squeezing tension through that arm. All right, so let's think about finishing the rep that we're on. So make sure you finish that rep in full, all the way back and around to the start. And then we're just going to go over to the other side. So I'm going to take my right hand, check him in my rib cage. Left hand opens. Now I bring that arm across my body, max out shoulder flexion, whilst you're externally rotated, and then start to internally rotate. Keep rolling your shoulder forwards until the back of the hand is on the thigh, then maxing out shoulder extension, externally rotating at that point, coming up and across your body. And we just work our way through a few more of those. And again, trying not to rotate it all through your torso, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your legs, tuck your belly button in. And it's nice and slow. You should feel a sensation of sort of dragging your arm through that shoulder's range of movement. All right, so I just want you to finish the one that you're on all the way back and around to the start. And then, guys, to warm up the hips a little bit, let's do our hip casts to begin with from kneeling. So you're just going to come into a quadruped position. Again, sucking your belly button in, pull the knee towards the elbow, take your leg out to the side, draw a nice big circle with your knee, and then reverse back the other way. So squeeze your butt, externally rotate, pull your knee back around. And just work your way now through a few of these. Nice big circle one way, and back the other way. So squeeze the glute, pull the knee back and around towards your elbow. So just a couple of nice big circles here, guys. Squeezing your glute, knee pulls around, and reversing back the other way. So really think about the different positions as you do this as well. So as you pull your knee towards your elbow, squeeze your hip flexor. Take your leg out to the side, and you'll start to feel your glute firing up as you take that leg behind. And then as you go into hip extension, again, we squeeze our butt cheek, pull that knee into an external rotation and back to the elbow. This is nice and slow, just a couple more of these. All right, so let's finish the one that you're on, back and around to the start, and we'll go over to the other side. So again, hands and knees, suck your belly button in, push through the floor, knee to elbow, draw a nice big circle out to the side, and then reverse, squeeze your glute, externally rotate, pull your knee back towards your elbow. So you should feel those hips starting to wake up a little bit. Try not to use your lower back. Keep squeezing your glute as your legs out behind. And at that point, that's where you want to use your lower back. So I want you to make sure you're not doing that. Really suck your belly button in. Pull your knee back to your elbow. And just a couple more of these, guys. Alrighty, so finishing the one that you're on. And then from here, we'll just go some cat-cow. So I'm just going to suck my belly button in, rounding through the spine, and to really tilt the pelvis, looking down towards the floor, and just work your way through a little bit of this. Just limbering your spine through flexion and extension. So when we warm up the spine, we really want to focus the warm-up part first on flexion extension before we do any rotation or lateral flexion. So really think about sucking in the belly button, trying to tuck your tail around your lower back, and then rib cage pushes down, and to really tilt the pelvis, pull your shoulder blades back and down and look up towards the sky. Now guys, keep working through that. I'm going to show you an option now to make this a little bit stronger. Most of you have done it before. You can come into an upward facing dog. So we're taking now a little bit of a stronger back bend, knees to the floor, suck your belly button in, and roll back to child's pose. And what you can do if you want is just stay with the cat-cow, or if you want to make this a little bit stronger, then you can come into these seal rocks, looking up, upward facing dog, knees to the floor, slowly rolling back. And again, just working your way through a few rounds of this, looking up, pressing those hips to the floor, knees to the floor, slowly rolling back. So guys, some of you may keep working through that, maybe a couple more reps. Some of you may have done a few classes where I've added almost like a little bit of a yoga-y style kind of thing just to get us warmed up. So we're going to do that again today. So from this child's pose, guys, we're just going to tuck our toes under and then just come into a downward facing dog. Now, before we do anything else, I'm just going to get you to walk one heel into the floor at a time. So I'm just pressing my right heel down, getting a bit of a stretch into my calf, and then the left heel down. So it's like you're on a stepping machine at the gym and you're just pressing one heel, then the other heel. So we're just going to work our way through a couple of those, just starting to lengthen into the calves as well as your hamstrings for some of us. And whilst we're in this downward facing dog position, we should be pressing our armpits back towards our thighs the whole time as well. So in a moment, I'm going to get you to do that little sequence where we go into a single leg downward dog and then we come into a high lunge, and it just warms our body up a little bit, okay? So from here, guys, I just want you to take your right leg up to the sky and press your armpits back towards your thigh, okay? We're then going to rock our shoulders forwards over our wrist, pull knee towards your elbow, and then step through and take your hands up overhead into a high lunge position. So just take a nice deep breath in and just really sink down into that front leg. Start to feel the muscles waking up there. And then hands to the floor. Now push through the floor and protract, and then take that leg back to the sky. That's one rep. And then again, rock forwards, knee to chest or knee to elbow. Step your leg through. Arms to the sky, sinking your back hip down towards the floor. Take a nice deep breath. And then coming back, hands to the floor. Push that leg back to the sky. That's two. We've got one more, guys. Rock forwards. Step your leg through. Reaching up nice and tall, sinking your back hip down towards the floor. Hands to the floor. Take your leg back to the sky into that downward dog one more time. And then bring your foot to the floor and we'll go over to the other side. So I'm now in a normal downward dog, and I'm going to take my left leg up to the sky. Rock your shoulders forwards over your wrist, pull your knee towards your chest and step your leg through. Sweep your hands up overhead, really sink down into that front leg, guys. Just hold, find your balance. Hands to the floor and leg back to the sky. That's one. Good. Knee to chest. Step through. Reach up nice and tall, sink your back hip down, sinking into that front leg. Hands to the floor. And leg to the sky. That's two. You've got one more, guys. Knees to chest. Sink down, sweeping up overhead. Take a nice deep breath in. Hold a moment. And hands to the floor. Push back to your single leg dog. And then bring your foot down. And then knees to the floor again. And again, just press back into child's pose. Take a breath or two here. All right, so guys, we're now just going to, again, to warm up those hips and hamstrings a little bit, just come to standing, and I want you to just come down to a Cossack, into that low lunge, back to a Cossack, and then use your hands to transition over to the other side. So Cossack, low lunge, little pulse into your hip flexor, cross that, and other side. And we're just going to keep working through one leg. Oh, hello. And the other side. So let's work for about 60 seconds, guys, keeping those hips nice and low, sinking down. Hey, Ben. How are you? Say hi from afar. Do you know what you're getting?
Yeah, it's in the box.
Yeah, awesome. Just go for it. Grab it. Nice, guys. So just transition one side to the other. We've just got about 30 seconds left. For those who don't know, I did used to be a yoga teacher. That's why sometimes things can sound a little yoga-y. Nice, guys. Just one side thing. I always taught yoga to athletes, though, so I'm not really a namaste kind of person, you know. All right, so just maybe last rep, finishing off there. All right, so guys, from there, we're now going to stand up, and today we will have some hip flexion stuff. So I want to make sure hamstrings are stretched out a little bit more. So often we'll do, obviously, our pipe bounce walk, walking along the floor. We're just going to do essentially a static pipe bounce walk, okay? So what we're going to do is just take your left leg out in front, pull the toes back towards the shin, and then from here, we're just going to gently pulse up and down. So now I'm going to, because I'm pulling my toes up, you are going to get calf on that leg and hamstring, and we're just limbering through the hamstring. And we're going to spend about 30, 45 seconds just gently drawing ourselves into that position. So just pulsing up and down, drawing that toe up towards the shin, and just starting to wake up the hamstrings a little bit more, making sure that they're stretched out for when we come to that compression stuff in a little bit. So hips are pressing backwards and we're just gently pulsing up and down. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Standing up. All right, other side, guys. So toes pull back towards the shin, hips press backwards, and then again, just gently pulsing up and down. So let's just wake up those calves and hamstrings a little bit. Just limbering into that position. A little bit of a hamstring stretch, a little bit of a calf stretch. Shouldn't be too strong. We always want to be mindful of just gently warming up the hamstrings. They can cause lower back issues if we overdo it. Last 10, 9, hello, 8. Everyone's dropping in to pick up equipment. Last 5, be exciting. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Standing up, guys, and then just circling off the hips a couple of times. All right, so last limber thing, guys, before we get into something a little bit stronger, is just to lie onto the floor and go lying for rotation. So just our standard, knees towards the chest, hands are stacked, and then just drawing that big circle overhead, opening your chest up towards the sky and coming back around, okay? So just getting, when you're ready, guys, we'll have about 60 seconds on each side. So getting ready, starting in 3, 2, and 1. Let's draw that nice big circle, open your chest up towards the sky, and then exhale as you come back around. So just start to work through that rotation. As we know, for most of us, this feels quite relaxing, quite gentle. It is a really just nice warm up in rotation. It's not too strong. And I just want you to focus on the breathing. So take a nice deep breath in as you open your chest up towards the sky, and then exhale as you come back around. So as you start to warm up, I want you to think about pulling that top shoulder down onto the floor. Really trying to open that chest up towards the sky. We are going to do the wall rotation, guys, just because I think it's a really good bang for buck rotation. I know I do it quite a lot. You will, in a little while, need a little bit of wall space or somewhere, even like the railing there, like, for example, Cass got a railing or something there, just to put your leg up against, and that will make sense in a moment. You just need this little bit of space. All right, so let's finish the rep that you're on there. And then when you've done that, guys, we'll just roll over to the other side. So with these kind of full body prehab / stretch classes, I do try to make them a bit bang for buck. So we kind of finish the class feeling as though we've sort of stretched out a little bit of everything, yeah? All right, so let's go over to the other side, just opening that chest up towards the sky and exhaling as you come back around. And again, focusing on the breathing. Nice deep breath in as you open your chest up. Exhale as you come back. Got about 30 seconds or so left on this side, and I do ask you to really focus on that breath. The deeper the breath, the stronger the stretch you might feel. And we've just got about 20 seconds or so left. Nice, guys. Last 10 seconds. So perhaps just finish the rep that you are on. All right, so from there, guys, what we are going to need, like I said, we have 3 different exercises. We're going to be doing some hip flexion. We're going to be doing some inlocates with the stick from the floor. And I'm going to give the option to do a table rock or something if maybe you don't have a stick or for whatever reason you can't do that. And we are going to need a little bit of space up against a wall or somewhere where we can kind of block our hip and work through our rotation here, okay? If you have tennis balls, guys, especially in this one, you might want to be squeezing those tennis balls and using them to irradiate and create tension through the body. Some of you might have some little weights, and actually in this one you want to add some resistance or some weights into it, even just some little 1 kilo kind of weights if you've got them. So there's a few options there, guys, all right? So let's grab our stick and we're going to go into some inlocates, straight into inlocates on the floor, okay? Now, if you can't do these, you could come to standing or you might come into a table rock. So fingers to the side, lifting up and down. Can you hear my puppy? Can anyone hear my puppy barking? You can. I'm going to have to go get him in a sec because Dan's not here. All right. So, guys, we're going to lie down onto the floor into this position. So palms facing down, nose onto the floor. I want you to tuck your tail under. And then from here, you're just going to take that stick over and coming back, okay? So let's work through, oh, Dan just arrived just in time. Doug just woke up. He needs to go outside. Done with the day. All right, so guys, let's work through that, about 60 seconds of inlocates. So just working through that, guys, nice and slow. Now, some of you might feel like shoulders feel a little bit tight, so you start with nice wide hands. Now, if you really struggle to clear your head with the stick, then I would like you to come to standing. So remembering, guys, when we do those inlocates, the palms are facing down when the stick is on your bum. Okay, so palms are facing the floor. Now, for whatever reason, shoulder injuries or something, you may come to standing and just work your way through some dislocates instead. I'm quite happy for us to modify as we need. Last 20 seconds, guys. Just nice and slow. Try and move evenly through the shoulders. You've got last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So finishing the rep that you're on. Nice one, guys, and stopping there. All right, so the next exercise is we're going to lie onto the floor and come into some hip flexion. So we will transition this to a standing variation in a moment. But guys, all I want you to do, and if you've done this with me in the gym, you'll know that I say on the bottom leg, you might want to put your foot onto a yoga block because that can actually just help our lower back to not go into an excessive lumbar extension, okay? So you might want to elevate this bottom foot. And then from here, I'm going to pull, so I'm pulling my right knee up towards my chest, and you're going to pull into as much hip flexion as you can using your hands. Then you're going to squeeze everything in the front of this hip, slowly let go, and try not to let your leg drop away. So we're just working our compression strength here, okay? So guys, let's have a go. Let's perhaps elevate your front foot or your bottom leg onto a book or a yoga block if you would like to. Otherwise, it's just on the floor. Pull your top knee in towards your chest. Now, this is called your passive end range because we need our hands to get there, okay? So I've pulled my knee all the way in. Now I want you to squeeze everything in the front of your hip. Really, really squeeze. And then slowly let go and do not let your knee drop away from your chest. For 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep pulling your knee up. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your shin, pull your knee back in a little bit more. So there's always going to be a tiny lag. All right, getting ready, and squeeze everything in the front of the hip, and slowly let go and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And again, guys, let's squeeze everything and slowly let go and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, keep pulling up, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now take your knee, pull it in, relax in that top position, and then slowly let that leg come down. All right, and we're going to go over to the other side, guys. So getting ready. So let's squeeze that knee, bottom leg out straight on a yoga block if necessary. And then from there, let's slowly let go and hold for 10, 9, 8. Come on, keep pulling your knee in. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And again, guys, pull that leg back up, squeeze everything, and off we go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And again, squeeze and draw your knee in towards your chest and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And hold a moment and slowly coming out. Awesome. All right. So guys, from there, we're going to go third exercise, that rotation that I was talking about. Now you need a wall space, okay? So I want you to, you need a wall space. So I want you to come to a wall. You're going to step your front leg, your leg, sorry, that's closest to the wall up. And then from here, the hand that's closest to the wall windmills first. So I windmill my arm, and then I pull into that rotation. Now notice my arms are in a crucifix position, and I'm trying to rotate towards the wall, and then I'm coming back out. Okay, it's one of my favorite rotation exercises, all right? So let's step that leg up against the wall. If you have a yoga block and you want to pin it against the wall, that's another variation on this, guys. There's lots of options here. Now, if you are using, say, a couch, or a railing or something where there's not a wall up here, okay? Just be mindful that you're trying to keep this hand like away. If I'm using a wall, I'm trying not to touch the wall. So if you've got a couch, you've got a lot of space for this arm. So be really strict and don't let that arm drift over the couch, okay? So really pull into that rotation, all right? So getting ready, guys, what we'll do is rather than reps, we'll go for time and then we'll hold at the end. So let's start that movement. So come into the rotation and then start working through your rotation on your own. So you're just going to very slowly windmill the arms, pull into that twist, and then come back around. And you're just working your way through that, guys. Now, for some of us, this is really intense, okay? If you lack that final rotation, you might find this really, really hard, which is okay. So let's just keep windmilling through, guys, pulling into that twist. You will feel your obliques working quite hard as well. And then with your hands, irradiate tension. So if you've got the tennis balls, really squeeze the tennis balls. I'm just checking in to check everyone's doing it right, because sometimes we put the wrong leg up. Yep, so looks good, guys. So just keep working through that, okay? Brendan, you need your other leg stepped up. Opposite leg. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. And then that right leg is just completely touching the wall. And now rotate as you were. Yeah. Yeah. And the left hand comes up to meet like a crucifix position. Yes, with the arms. Yes, perfect. Nice. So guys, on your next rep, I would like you to rotate around and then just hold in that position. Okay, so let's pull around and hold there. And you're just going to squeeze and irradiate tension. Take some nice deep breaths in. For some of us, this is really challenging. Keep pulling into your twist. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's slowly windmill the arms out of there. Nice, guys. All right, so we're going to spin around to the other side. Now, remember, I can't see everybody, but remember, it's the leg that is closest to the wall that steps up. Okay, so that's the leg that's up. The leg that's closest to the wall. You want contact with your thigh if you can against the wall. And then when you're ready, I want you to get started and go into that rotation. So drawing a really nice big circle, semi-rainbow on the wall, bringing your other hand up to meet like a crucifix type position. Nice, and then just keep working through that, guys. Remembering to take a nice deep breath in as you rotate. Nice, guys. Keep pulling into that position. Nice, and just notice as well if you're finding that one way is harder than the other. So maybe this side feels easy or maybe it feels harder than the other side. It's really, really common with rotation is that we tend to rotate one way a bit easier than the other way. So guys, on your next rep, I want you to pull yourself into that rotation and then just hold there. So really pull into that twist and just holding and taking some nice deep breaths in. Irradiating tension, that back shoulder's pulling towards the wall, the front, that other one's pulling away. So we're increasing the twist. Last 3, 2, and 1, and we're milling ourselves out of there. Nice, guys. All right, so just roll your shoulders off, a couple little sideways rotations if you need. We are going to go back into our inlocates face down on the floor. If some of you might have weight plates, feel free to pop a weight plate onto the stick if you would like to, guys. If for whatever reason the inlocates aren't working for you, you could come to standing and go through dislocates, okay, just our regular dislocates. Or you could come into some table rocks and just work on the shoulder extension. Lots of options here, guys, just depending on your shoulders and what you have available. Remember, when we start our inlocates, the stick is on your butt with your palms facing forwards, all right? So getting ready, whichever one you're working on, starting in 3, 2, and 1, off we go. So just bringing that stick over and coming back and try and make it nice and controlled. For most people, especially if your shoulders are a bit tight, there's like a little sticky spot in the inlocate where you like rush through it and it's a bit jolted. And I want you to try and see if you can smooth it out. So try and make it as smooth as possible through that entire range of movement and keep the elbows nice and straight. You've got about 30 seconds left. Well done, guys. So just nice and slow and controlled. Nice straight arms. Last 20 seconds. Remember, you're trying not to arch your back. You want to keep tucking your tail. Trying not to use extension of the spine to take ourselves through this movement. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stopping there. Well done, guys. All right, so now for our hip flexion, we're going to, obviously, we usually have the store bars to hold on to. All you're going to do today is find yourself a wall, okay? So it doesn't need, you don't need to have anything to grip onto. We're just going to have our back up against a wall. You're going to bring your knee up in front, straighten your leg, hold, and then straight leg down towards the floor. So just now our compression drill that we usually do on the store bars, okay? So guys, you don't need to be in shot of the camera. If it means you need to move to a wall space, then go for it. We want to get our back up against the wall. Now try not to be leaning against the wall with your feet out. Just make sure that your weight is sort of entirely in your feet and the wall is more a postural cue, okay? And then from there, let's pull our right knee up in front, squeeze your hip flexor, and then straighten your leg, hold, and then straight leg comes down, keep tension in the leg. That's 1. Knee up, squeeze, straighten, hold, and coming down, that's 2. Knee up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 3. Knee in, squeeze into hip flexion, straighten, hold, and down, that's 4. Try and get your legs super straight. Knee up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 5. Knee up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 6. Knee up, squeeze, hold, and down, that's 7. Up, squeeze, hold, and down, that's 8. You've got 2 more, guys. Knee in, straighten, hold, and down. That's 9. We're going to hold here, guys. So let's lift up, squeeze your legs straight, and let's just hold there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 leg down. Awesome work. All right, other side. So getting ready. All right, so getting ready, guys. And then from there, let's pull your knee in towards your chest, squeeze, and then straighten your leg, hold, and coming down, that's 1. Good. Just lift up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 2. Knee in, straighten, hold, and down, that's 3. Leg up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 4. Leg in, straighten, hold, and down, that's 5. Knee up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 6. Leg up, straighten, hold, and down, that's 7. Leg in, hold, and down, that's 8. You've got 2 more. Knee up, straighten your legs, squeeze your quad, and down, that's 9. Last one, guys, leg up. Let's straighten and let's hold there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and coming down. Awesome. All right, so maybe just do a couple little circles off with the hips. We do have one more round of that rotation at the wall just before we come into our more passive stretching. All right, so let's find yourself a space, that space up against the wall. Remember, it's the leg that's closest to the wall that steps up. You likely want something underneath your back knee just to make it a bit more comfortable. All right. Dance on puppy duty. Oh dear. All right. It's not exactly someone who really wants to be on puppy duty, I'm sure. All right, guys, so getting ready. 60 seconds or so on each side. So let's just go into that rotation. Really pull into that twist. Now, your shoulder that's originally closest to the wall, you're pulling that away from the wall and you're pulling that back shoulder towards the wall to increase the twist, okay? So just keep working through that and also connecting to the breathing a little bit, okay? So you want to be breathing in and exhaling as you come back around. So just keep moving through that, guys, nice and slow. It doesn't need to be fast. Don't be worried about how many reps you're doing. If you've got the tennis balls, I want you to squeeze them. If you don't have tennis balls, I want you to imagine that you do, and you're just really like irradiating tension and trying to pull into that. Nice, guys. You've got just over 20 seconds left. Just keep drawing into that twist, pulling your arms. All right, so for the last bit, let's hold in the rotation and just to radiate tension. So pull into the twist, flex your abs, pull your shoulder away from the wall, squeeze in that position. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, stopping there. Awesome. All right, guys, so let's go over to the other side. So spinning around, step the leg that's closest to the wall up. All right, so getting ready and off we go. We're milling the arms around. So drawing into your rotation, nice big circle rainbow on the wall. Nice, guys. So again, remember to breathe. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, come back around. Nice, remembering to breathe. Pulling into that twist, irradiating tension by crushing the tennis balls if you can. Uh-oh. Last, just over 20 seconds, guys. Keep squeezing and pulling into that twist. You've got about 15 seconds left. Yeah, it's coming back. Last 10. So let's hold in that position, guys. Irradiate tension, squeeze your abs, pull your shoulder away from the wall. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So guys, we're going to grab yourself a quick little drink if you need to. We're going to come into, I always really because we're spending a lot of time sat down at a desk, I'm sure a lot of us are at home and we're not getting up and moving around perhaps as much as we normally would. I would like us to go quad. I always like to do quad to hip flexor, okay? Now you guys should know, if you want a chair, so I've got a bench, but imagine it's a chair, and you just have that handy. So when you go transition to hip flexor, you can put your elbows onto it. So we're going to go passive quad stretch, just stepping up and stretching out our quad, making sure our hips are all in line. We would then, this is where you can, if you have a chair, perhaps just pop your elbows onto a chair, okay? So we transition into hip flexor, all right? So we'll do both of those. The quad stretch will be passive. The hip flexor stretch will do the contractions, okay? Now, you, of course, don't have to have the bench. You may have hands on the floor. And those who are quite flexible may actually be upright and almost leaning backwards to increase that stretch, okay? It sort of depends on you and your lower back. So let's, if you need something underneath your back knee, please roll up a mat, a little pillow or something, and then let's pop our toe onto the wall and set ourselves up into our quad stretch. Now, most of us should know that a stick, the chair that you're about to use or whatever, just for balance here is helpful, okay? So in this position, we want to pull our back hip forward, squaring our hips, and posteriorly tilt your pelvis. So what happens in a quad stretch is you kind of get pulled into a lumbar extension. So you get pulled into a little twerk, okay? So what I need you to try to do whilst you're in that position is posteriorly tilt your pelvis in the quad stretch, okay? Now, the back hip, you also pull it forwards to square the hips, because you should know, guys, here, when we're in this position, you kind of poke your hip out to the side of the front leg and actually want to square the hips and tuck the tail to get the stretch into the quad. Now again, for those who are quite flexible, once you've set that hip position up, squared hips, tucked tail, you may hold onto that tail tuck and slightly tilt backwards just to increase the quad stretch a little bit more, okay? I don't need to do that when I'm in this position because my quads are so tight. So just breathing into it, guys. Let's go. We're going to have about 45 seconds or so more, just passively stretching out the quads here. So just breathing into it, keep squaring your hips. So if you lose the stretch, it's likely that you've just slowly lost your posterior pelvic tilt and you've kind of poked your hips. So you're always pulling your back hip forwards, tucking your tail under to keep squaring the hips. Last 20 seconds. So what we will be doing from here, as most of you know, is just transitioning ourselves, like I said, straight into that hip flexor stretch, okay? So don't do anything just yet. I will talk you through that. So last breath in our quad stretch. All right. So guys, what you're going to do is if you're having a chair or whatever, then have it ready, or hands to the floor to the inside of your front foot. Now, for most of us, just move the back knee out from the wall a little bit. And then resting your elbows onto the bench. Front foot is down the side of the bench, or you've got your hands to the floor, okay? And so now I've gone into a hip extension with pushing my back hip down towards the floor. So we've just transitioned this to what should feel for most of us like more of a hip flexor stretch now, okay? So if your quads are tight, it's highly likely that you will still feel quad quite predominantly, which is okay. I would also like you to think about your front foot. So let's creep our front toes forward so your front foot is slightly ahead of your front knee. You may notice when you do that a bit of a hamstring adductor stretch on the front leg, which is okay. Now just take some nice deep breaths in, and as you exhale, squeeze your butt cheek on that back hip and push your hip into more extension. So push your hip towards the floor. And then just a couple of rounds of breath before we contract, where you breathe into your belly. And as you exhale, just sinking yourself a little deeper into that stretch. So the contractions, guys, first one, we're going to pull our back knee forwards through the floor towards your chest. So let's drag your knee through the floor. Off we go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stop. Take a nice deep breath in. Squeeze your quad again, glute again, and push your hip down. Second contraction is to push the wall over. So getting ready, and let's press back for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, squeeze your butt cheek, push your hip down. And guys, let's slowly move our hips backwards, coming out of that position. Now, you may want to stand up and just like wiggle off your hips, or maybe come to high kneeling, just do a couple of circles with the hips. And then we will go over, guys, to the other side, starting with our passive quad stretch. All right, so other side. So setting up into that position, guys, remember our back knee is pretty close into the wall. Make sure you've got padding underneath the back knee. We want to pull our back hip forward, squaring the hips, tuck our tail, and find ourselves that stretch into the quad. Just noticing as well, I always ask this, but just observing if one side feels tighter than the other. It's always good to know about your body and what's tight and what's not. And we're just going to have another 45 to 60 seconds, literally just passively breathing here. Now remember, you'll get if pulled into an anterior tilt. So tuck your tail, and that should significantly increase the stretch into the quad. So when you're doing this, guys, like even in a standing quad stretch, yeah, we can still do all of the same cues, because this is, I see people doing this, not really stretching their quad, but if you tuck your tail here and then you pull your knee backwards, you will get the strongest stretch into the quad. So if you're on your own doing that standing version, it's the same cues. You want that posterior pelvic tilt before you come into that stretch. So we've just got about 20 seconds left before we transition to hip flexor. So just re-square the hips, tuck the tail one more time. Alrighty, guys, so just very slowly now, let's just transition ourselves into that hip flexor stretch. So you're just going to move forwards a little bit, bring that back knee out from the wall, sinking down, perhaps elbows onto the bench or the chair. And then just take some nice deep breaths in, and as you exhale, you just want to squeeze your butt cheek on that side and just really open through the hip flexor. So make sure that your front foot is slightly ahead of your front knee, and you're really sinking your hip flexor down towards the floor. So we really should be open now. And this in our front split, for most of us, yes, when you go into front splits, you do feel a hamstring stretch, but for most of us, the limiting factor is going to be the back hip flexor. So just a couple more rounds of breath here before we do our contraction. Remember, the first contraction is going to be to pull the back knee forwards. So we'll just do maybe 1 or 2 more rounds of breath. Squeezing your butt cheek, pushing into that stretch. All right, guys, so getting ready for that first contraction. Let's drag your back knee forwards through the floor for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stop. Take a deep breath in and sink your hip down towards the floor. All right, second contraction, remember, guys, is going to be to push your back foot into the wall. So getting ready, and let's press back. Off we go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And again, stop. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, sinking down into that stretch. And we'll just do another round or 2 of breath here. Nice, guys. All right, so let's slowly transition ourselves or move ourselves out of that position. From perhaps even just a high kneeling position, just do a few circles with the hips, just one way, and then back the other way. Alrighty, so guys, what we're now going to do is you're just going to come into a frog position. So you're going to have knees nice and wide. We didn't do this at the start of the class, Ankles in line with the knees. Just gently, once you're there, just gently start rocking forwards and backwards. Now, you should know that you really need something underneath the knees here, okay? So if you're not on a soft surface, your yoga mat, kind of position it so your knees can be on it. Or maybe you need some little pillows or something underneath the insides of the knees. And then from here, just start by gently rocking forwards and backwards. Now you could come, if for whatever reason this doesn't work, surface is too hard or something, you could come to a seated butterfly position and just push your knees open with your back against the wall. All right, so what I want you to do is we are just going to do the contractions in this position. So just before we do anything, just check that your ankles are pulled out and they're in line with your knees. And then just settle yourself now into a static position. So your butt is in line with your knees. You'll want to tip forwards a little to escape the stretch. So make sure your bum's in line with your knees. And then to start with, just scoop your hand underneath your knee and just push the knees a little bit wider. All right. So now we'll just take a really nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just soften your belly. Just sort of allow yourself to be in that position. We are going to do a couple of contractions here, and you guys should know the drill. We're going to try and crush the floor with our knees, and then we're going to use our hands to open our knees up a little bit wider, all right? So let's gently squeeze the floor, guys, with your knees for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stop. Take a nice deep breath in. Maybe scoop your hand under. Open up your knee a little bit more on each side. All right, and again, let's squeeze through the floor for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stop. Take a breath. Maybe open up your knees a little bit wider if you can. And we'll just do a round or two of breath here. Nice, guys. Last 10 seconds or so. That's just like visitor. All right, and then from there, let's just rock forward slowly onto your belly. Slide your legs together behind you. Maybe press yourself back into child's pose, guys, and just stretch out your lower back a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of options as well for this stretch. So if you have a chair or a bench or something that you can come into, we're going to come into a sort of just a passive, I suppose, Americana stretch, and you can just be from a quadruped position. You'd like to do on the store bars, put your forearm up onto the chair, and then you just press your shoulder down towards the floor. Now, if you can't do this one, guys, because you don't have something to use, you could just come onto the floor and work here and rotate, or even the straight arm version, if you would prefer that T-stretch position. I quite like the chair or the bench because it means I've got all this space to sort of press and search for that stretch, okay? So let's come, if you're using the chair or the bench, let's go elbow or forearm up onto the bench, elbow in line with the shoulder. And now just start to push your shoulder down towards the floor. And just search for a stretch into the front of your shoulder capsule, into your pec. And just check for alignment. So I've asked you to have elbow in line with the shoulder, but you may find that taking your elbows slightly higher or above the line of the shoulder gives you a little bit of a better stretch. So just in that position, guys, we're not going to do any contracting. We're just literally breathing here. So I just want you to take some really nice deep breaths in and just keep gently pressing down into that stretch. Now, once you've found a stretch, think about tucking your tail and sucking your belly button in. Again, we just really compensate everywhere with the spine. So try not to arch the lower back excessively here. And just keep searching for that stretch all the way through the front of the shoulder, maybe your pec. I'm feeling even a little bit into my armpit. And you've got about 30 seconds left just breathing there. You can make this as strong or as gentle as you like. And again, because we're spending a lot of time sort of sat at the desk and potentially not moving around as much as we normally would, we just really want to open our chest because our posture can be quite affected by that seated position. Last 10 seconds or so. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stopping there. Well done, guys. All right, so we're going to go over to the other side now. So pop elbow onto, or forearm up onto the chair. Knees are underneath the hips. Start to press your shoulder down towards the floor. Have a think about the position of the elbow. I did cue it to be in line with the shoulder, but you might find that going higher gives you a slightly better stretch, so explore that a little bit. And then just breathing into it, nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, press your armpit down. All right, the other thing you might want to do, guys, is tuck your tail under, suck your belly button in. And that's also going to give you a bit of a stronger stretch or stop you compensating through the lower back. Nice, guys. So you've just got about 20, 30 seconds left, just breathing into it. Armpit pushes down. Nice, guys. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stopping there. All right. So for those who, I think most of us have a chair or a surface that we can use. If you don't, guys, and you want to, for this one, you could just come into like a stretching pack here. Okay, open the shoulders. I'm going to get you guys to do who have a chair is just come knees underneath the hips. Now, rather than think the butcher's block one where we go really narrow and we have that yoga block between our wrists, let's flare the elbows out, cross your hands, and then just fold your hands over the top of your back. And now suck your belly button in and just press your armpits down towards the floor. Okay? So I've crossed my hands like this on and they've gone onto my upper back, all right? So I think most of us know what we're talking about, what I'm talking about. So elbows are on the edge of a chair, hands are on the upper back, knees are underneath the hips, okay? And now from there, just push your armpits down towards the floor and just breathe into it. So a lot of you will know that when we do the butcher's block variation in class where we have the yoga block between the hands, you can get that little kind of pinch in the shoulder, which is closing angle joint pain for some people. And this is the version I give that gets rid of that. Changes the stretch a little bit, but it's quite good for being at home because this is quite thoracic. It gets quite a bit into your upper back, and we also get a little bit of tricep here or into your rotator cuff. So from this position, guys, just take a nice deep breath in, tuck your tail and suck in your belly button. And now again, just press the armpits towards the floor. And just take a few rounds of breath in this position. Right, so finish perhaps the round of breath that you're on, armpits pushing down towards the floor. Last 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come up from there, roll your shoulders off a couple of times. All right, and then from there, guys, let's just go into our seated flexion. So you'll just sit onto the floor, wrap your arms behind your legs, and just press back into this position. So most of you, again, should have done this millions of times with me. So just wrapping up your legs, tucking your tail, and you are trying to create a C shape with your spine. So just really rounding out your spine. Now, it's very easy. The predominant stretch here is in the upper back, so the space between your shoulder blades, you're going to feel your rhomboid stretching. But when you do this, you're really trying to tuck your tail and round out your lumbar spine as well. So we're trying to get as much flexion through the entire spine as possible. So you're creating the letter C. So once you're there, then really tuck your chin, posteriorly tilt your pelvis, tuck your tail under, and just press back between your shoulder blades. And then once you're there as well, just taking a couple of nice deep breaths in, noticing probably from a muscular sense, you're probably noticing the stretch most strongly in the upper back between the shoulder blades. Last 15, 20 seconds, just a couple of rounds of breath. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come out of there, guys. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest up. Maybe come into a couple of cat-cows just to, again, remember that spine off, loosen it off a little bit. And then once we've done that, guys, we are finished for today. Thank you so much. Well done, guys. Awesome work. If anyone's got any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see some of you tomorrow for a workout. Thanks, guys.